Now, as a trained coach and mentor, there are certain tools and techniques that I've learned in order to create creative insights for individuals who are trying to find a sense of direction, meaning, and purpose in their lives. Now, of course, with coaching and mentoring, the focus is usually on the future as opposed to the past, and it's trying to create solutions that are proactive as opposed to reactive, which you may find in counseling. Now, a great tool to use, whether you're a budding coach or an experienced coach, is the TGROW Model. Now, this was developed by Sir John Whitmore, who is a veteran and pretty much seen as the go-to person when it comes to the whole coaching space. Now, the TGROW Model was further developed by a guy called Miles Downey in his book Effective Coaching, which again just adds an additional factor to the TGROW Model. Now, again, the TGROW Model is useful because it really sets the structure in terms of how you present your coaching with the client, or how you work together in the coach-coachee relationship. And this tool was used because it was seen that grow, as an example, was how people tended to naturally speak in terms of the different stages of speech. And so with that in mind, again, it becomes a fantastic tool. Now, it's not the only tool, but it's definitely one of the most popular tools to use. Now, here's what TGROW stands for: topic, goal, reality, options, and way forward. I'm going to break down each one so you can get a clearer perspective. Now, when it comes to topic, this is about getting clarity and context behind what the person would like to explore. So a person may come to you, say they want coaching, and you may be like, what would you like to explore today? And again, they may go deeper in terms of what they want to talk about, talking about all this different stuff, but you're trying to narrow it down so you can get to the goal bit. And of course, usually people don't always necessarily say what they mean, but as a coach, it's for you to understand what they mean and follow their line of inquiry. And so the topic bit is really trying to get clarification, context, and explore what it is they truly want to talk about. And of course, you can always come back to this during the actual coaching process. But again, we start off usually with the topic. The next thing is the goal. So again, the goal is really the outcome that the individual is trying to achieve. So you may say something like, what outcomes would you like to achieve from this session? Or what would you like to get from today's session, as an example? Now, there are different types of goals that you can get. And again, this is referenced in the book Coaching for Performance by Sir John Whitmore. There are dream goals, which looks at the bigger picture and the end dream states, the bigger vision. You have the end goal, which is a clear, tangible outcome, so to speak. You have the performance goal, which is a milestone from that end goal. And you also have process goals, which are really clear tasks that you need to achieve to, again, get to the rest of them. And so when it comes to the goal, yes, you need context behind what the dream goal is. You also need context behind what the end goal is. However, you'll probably be looking more to what the performance goal is in that specific session. But again, that context gives you a clear line of inquiry when it comes to delivering your coaching. Now, of course, your actual goals or their goals need to be smart to some degree. I say need to be loosely. So specific, measurable, achievable, relatable or reliable, as some say, and time bound. There are other things that you can do in order to make sure that these goals are the right type of goals. So if they have the right level of challenge or whatever it may be, to ensure that they have a goal that they're presenting to you in the session. The next part of TGROW is reality. So this is where you really go deep into the exploration of what's actually holding them back. What is the situation? What are their thoughts on it? Who are the other players involved? You're really looking at 4 bums on a bench. Okay, so really that means you're looking at the what, when, why, who, etc., and how. You're looking at all these different things. And so in this space, this is where you really utilize your coaching skills. This is where you have to adopt the right level of deep listening. Okay, really trying to understand what that individual is saying and removing yourself from certain biases that may distract you. This is where Nancy Klein talks about her thinking environments in More Time to Think. There has to be a certain level of objectivity. So rather than using language that may make the person feel a certain way by saying, why did you do that? You may say, what encouraged you to take that decision? You're looking for facts and details. Now, you're not necessarily trying to go too deep to the point where you onset a mental health crisis, so to speak. And if you do recognize that they have mental ill health, then you would refer them to a counselor, professional counselor. But again, it's about following the line of inquiry to make sure that they are sticking true to the goal and to the topic. But if you notice that there is a change, then you may want to revisit that specific goal. You also want to make sure that you use things like summaries. Okay, so in order to present a certain level of feedback, you may summarize some of the information that they've highlighted. So just so I've got this clear, you are highlighting a need to X, Y, and Z, and sometimes using their language shows that you're really listening. You also want to make sure that when it comes to your senses and your visuals, you are engaged with that individual. Okay. And if you're looking elsewhere or just going all the time, or constantly interrupting them, or making faces where they may potentially feel judged in a moment, regardless of what your biases may truly feel inside, you have to present a psychologically safe space in order for them to, again, really open up and express themselves. When thinking about it, the reality stage is where they're going to be the most vulnerable with you. And with vulnerability, you develop a relationship, you develop a sense of rapport. And so this is where, when it comes to psychological safety, you create the right level of challenge and support. Challenge through the questions that you're asking, which are not necessarily aggressive or rude, but support by encouraging or empowering them to believe in more. Again, where appropriate and it makes sense to, you may also use personal insight or personal stories to really refine or crystallize a message, so to speak. So again, these are all things you can think about when it comes to the reality bit. Now, the next bit is options. Now, these options may be deemed or seen as good or bad, but thinking makes it so. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. And so with that in mind, you're looking at every single option that is possible that this person could use in order for them to, again, succeed in their pursuit based on their goal. Now, again, you'll get a good insight, and they will get a good insight if this goal is still relevant. And if there's any sort of like inkling where it isn't, then again, revisit it. Assuming it is, highlight every single option, or they should at least anyway. You encourage them. So they may say, oh, I think I need to speak to Sally. You may say, what else? Spur them on until there is no more that they can say. And if you can think of something, you may say, may I suggest some additional options? Again, you're giving them the power to allow you to say what it is, rather than potentially belittling them, making them think that they're not doing a good job. So again, you're always putting the coach or the client in the position of power, so to speak, from an encouraging and enabling standpoint. Again, you're partners in this game, and it's not about you being the expert. It's about you allowing them to open up themselves, express themselves, but funnel that information in a way that is directed towards a pursuit. The final thing is way forward. What will you do? And this is usually broken down into two bits based on the book Coaching for Performance. Accountability and follow up with feedback. So accountability is just making sure that they're going to do what they say they're going to do. So this is about identifying what specifically they're going to do, what order they're going to do it, when they're going to do it, how they know that it's actually done, who needs to be involved, what materials are required. Again, these are all things that are involved, and sometimes you may be involved in helping them do these things if required, if that's part of the agreement. The follow-up and feedback is, again, them feeding back in terms of your sort of like performance within the whole coaching space, but also you giving them feedback in terms of what you've recognized in terms of their development or certain performance metrics or whatever it may be. So again, in this instance, performance is really centered around their emotional intelligence, really. How did they manage the task? Were there certain non-physical or physical cues that you highlighted or noted? So these are all things that come into play. Let me know in the comments below. Would you like to learn how to become a coach? Leave your comments below. So that's it. That's what TGROW looks like. And whether you're a leader, a line manager, an actual coach, someone who's developing to become a coach, this is a simple framework that you can use to start your coaching journey. And again, if you're interested in becoming a coach, let me know in the comments below, or feel free to message me and I'll see what I can cook up. Again, if you like videos like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. And as always, my friends, understand, reach, and expand. Peace.